Hey, everybody, welcome back to the real Too Many Men. We're all here, and that makes life so much better. My name is Alison AND and I am joined by the person whose content I anxiously await in my inbox every single week. It's the brain food I need to keep me sane and thinking about hockey with the right perspective and a shit ton of intelligence. It is the Civ Report's Sara Civian. Sara, how the hell are you?
Good. A little relieved now that I have hit, it's a kind of risky. I hit publish on the newsletter before I I mean, like seconds before I jumped on here. So if anybody can see any errors, let me know.
And Sara, I was remiss in my intro. We should also, I've never been happier to get an email in my inbox that was a renewal subscription 1 year
Ooh,
of
One year,
the
that's
Civ
sick.
Report. Let's go.
sorry if I took advantage of you and there's no way to
Happily.
not auto renew. So sorry, people. But thank you. Yes, it's been a year. Thanks, everybody. It's insane because I was not expect like you expect maybe like a less I think it was at least like 95% renewal rate and we're growing. So we're seeing some new faces in the chat, which I care about the most because that lights up my evening every evening. So join the chat if you haven't already, and thank you for being part of it, everybody.
Congratulations. We are so, so proud of you. It's awesome. What an accomplishment for you.
It's fun.
Good, as it should be. Who knew that we could have fun in our work?
In this
Who's to
sport,
say?
in this fucking economy.
We, of course, would not be too many men without, and I don't want to divulge too much because I want to respect, the barrier between personal and professional. But Shayna, you share a little bit about yourself, excuse me, away from your brilliance in the hockey sphere. And I just have to say, you are literally the most creative person I've ever met. Anytime you go into your fashion era or your costume era or your theme party era, I am inspired and envious in the very best way possible. Shayna, say hi.
Hi, that's so nice. That's like the nicest thing you could say to me because my crafts are my like everything.
Well, you are
You're
stellar and
awesome.
exceptional. You are a star. A star.
Okay.
A
I love
star.
you guys.
We love you. We missed you last week. We're so glad you're back.
Oh my God, it was like an episode of Too Many Men I actually listened to. I was so excited. I was like going through the video looking for clips and I'm like, wait, I can listen to this without muting it. This is so nice. And it was so good.
Well, thank you. Kudos to Sara. Sara got many, many compliments for her takes in that episode, as she should. So that's how it should be. All right. Speaking of Sara, what time is it?
Time for Bit Show News.
Time for Bit News. I feel like I'm taking over like new heights. New news. Anyway, I only know that because of Taylor Swift. Obviously, people. Let's get right into it. Folks, Vancouver never ceases to disappoint. Many teams have dealt with significant injuries early, which is a whole nother theme in and of itself, including the beloved Seattle Kraken. But the latest target seems to be the Vancouver Canucks, commencing with their 2-0 shutout against the Rangers. What? Last night, they are now without 8 of what was expected to be their regular lineup. Hedel, Hughes, Garland, Mancini, Bluger, Hoglander, Leckermacki, and Forbert are all out with so many injuries. In addition to the fact that Vancouver was desperately seeking strength and depth down the middle of the ice, they made a trade last week for Lucas Reichel from Chicago to come in after Philip Hedel goes out from that hit by Tom Wilson. Shayna, are the Canucks dead?
I mean, you watched the game last night and there's a lot of hockey to consume, and we'll get there. But I had up Utah, Edmonton. I was rotating that with Colorado and New Jersey. And then I had Vancouver, New York up. And I felt like I was watching a different sport. I felt like I was watching juniors on one side and, like the best of the best on the other. It was so night and day. The Canucks are hurting. And it's tough because they come into the year, and I don't think any of us were super high on them. And they had some highlights, like Thatcher Demko looks great. I think um, all of the Pedersens are doing their job, but most importantly, like Elias Pettersson looks better over the last stretch. I think he looked a little bit rough to open the year, but I feel like he's hitting his stride again. But then the injuries just pile up, and it's just like a roster that was at, I felt like was already out of its depths. It's just strained so much. So if Pedersen can keep doing the thing and Demko can, and Kiefer Sherwood can keep being the most fun player in the league, go off. But I think to see them struggle against the Rangers, who are very bad, that's not a good look.
Sarah, when you get shut out at home by the New York Rangers, respectfully,
The team that
Shayna,
hates scoring goals.
exactly. And there's actually no emotion in a game that I think everyone thought there would be emotion to. What do you make of what's going on in the other team in the Pacific Northwest?
Well, the Canucks are like the shell-shocked image of the soldier. Like there's no emotion here, or everything goes off the rails. Like that's how they work. I am not. They're in the worst, respectfully, the worst division. Um, they. I think the Rangers are better than we're giving them credit for, honestly.
Okay.
Adam Fox
Okay.
was really good at that game, and that's what we need out of him. I think I think this is one of those things on both sides where you say, call me in 20 games. Because, like you said, I think the Pedersens squared are having a decent outing. Demko healthy, looking good. There's a few, obviously, everybody's injured, but I'm always tapping the Pedersen sign where it's like he's pacing the team and he's doing pretty well. I'm not going to let 1-2-0 loss like really sway me here, or 1-2-0 win sway me with the Rangers. I think I have the Rangers right now. I think it's probably my most controversial pick of the vibe report this week. I had them in the fifth best vibe in the league right now,
Ooh,
which I don't think many people will agree with me, but I think this is a turning point. So we'll see.
Well, you made
can,
the point about Adam Fox. Sorry, Allison.
Yeah.
But like
can they
that,
not vibe until after the game in Seattle on Saturday? How about they start vibing on Sunday?
I mean, honestly, they might. Who knows? That game against Calgary just happened, and
I
that was
know.
awful. But no, at least that's the one like positive thing because it's like you could be, well, Savannah Judge shooting the puck more. That's really good from, and it is like that's a very big deal that he's shooting the puck after not at 5-on-5
Yeah.
for years and like getting back to his strengths and playing center. But like you need to see the results more consistently to like hype that up. But Fox is someone whose stock tanked last year because of Four Nations in particular, and now he's playing a tougher workload than he has in the past, and he's thriving, and so is Gavrikov. So it's like that is the takeaway of it. So at least
Yeah.
like at least they have that.
And we don't know what's wrong with Trocheck, right? We just know he's out.
He's coming back though, and that's important because
Not
JT
till
Miller is playing.
Sunday.
No, he only just started skating, so there's time. But
Okay.
like JT Miller is playing hurt. He got hurt in preseason. I don't know if he'd be playing as much as he is right now if it wasn't for the Trocheck injury. So I'm very curious what they do when Trocheck's back. Like, do you rest Miller here or there so he can like skate more effectively? Does Zibanejad go back to the wing? So they have more possibilities, but that they're gonna need a minute for that to happen, I think.
Interesting. It's funny, Shayna. I keep a little tracker of the initial rankings of the teams by the Athletic going into the season to see where people, and you had New York, what, 12th, 14th, something like that?
Yeah, the model hates them generally. So that
I'm
was,
saying
but
that's
they,
high considering what's happening.
well, I mean, because here's the thing with them. Like, if we're they're scoring, everyone keeps talking about, and it's so wild because like the chances are there, and that matters, right? Like you look at expected goals and shot production, and all of that matters. And generally, you say, well, if someone's doing the right things, which I think under Mike Sullivan there is some progress, good things will happen. But you also need guys who are gonna score goals. And you look at the roster, and you're like, they're very challenged for that specific skill. Like how many that you have Miller and you have Panarin who scored 30 in the last 2 years. Otherwise, like Zibanejad's years removed from that level at this point. So you have to see other players like pick it up and the bottom six doesn't have it. So I feel like the Trocheck injury just exposed every bad thing that could possibly happen with this forward group. And then like it's just this disastrous start. But it's also like it's October.
Yeah, we
Like
all
two
gotta
things are
chill.
true.
It's seriously October.
Okay, it's also October 29th as we record this, respectfully.
Yeah, we gotta wait till Thanksgiving till we make our cemented takes of who's making the
Mhm.
playoffs and who's gonna miss because and they're lucky Thanksgiving's late this year, right? It's like the 27th. This is not the 25th. So everyone has a couple extra games to get it together and decide if they're a playoff team or not.
All right. Well, that's a team that's decimated by injuries, and I fear that with this condensed schedule and then a return from an Olympic break and or play, depending on who you are, we're going to be talking about injuries a lot this season. But let's go to some happier news, some big extensions coming down in the past couple of days. And before we get to these, I want to say this. Both of the extensions we're going to talk about are with a $10 million minimum AAV. And I've seen some people overreacting to that, but we've talked about this in the past, is that when you look at a contract, you have to look at percent of the cap because there's a little thing called inflation. And particularly now we're also dealing with a thing called the cap increase year over year. So Shayna, you're our business mind, you're our cap mind. Perspective wise, should we not be expecting more of these deals that sound bigger than what we've ever heard before? Because this is what's happening in the league right now.
Yeah, 100%. Like we saw it go up last summer, and now the cap is rising again. And a year later, it's going to rise again. So you have to account for that. That's why I think, does the raw number matter? Sure, of course it does. Everything matters. But cap hit percentage is the thing to use. And I always look at it in year one specifically, right? Because you could say, well, Nathan McKinnon's cap hit percentage this year is only, whatever percent. Well, when he signed his contract, it's a lot different, right? Like I'm pulling up his contract right now. It's 13% this year. It was 15% the year he signed it. And keep in mind, he signed it a year early too. So that number is going to look a little bit different than it does with anybody else. So, yeah, that all matters a ton here. We're dealing with that. We're also seeing different trends of teams recognizing you have to lock up your own stars, right? Like we we do our player tiers project every single year. And this year I was like, Ryan Mead gave me the idea to like look at it. Where do players come from? And I don't know. Almost all of them, I think it was 91 out of the top 150 are still with the teams that drafted them. So you need to draft your stars. You need to develop your stars. You also need to retain them. So you might have to overpay a little bit to do it because you're not getting players in free agency that are star players. You're rarely getting them in trades unless it's like a disgruntled talent or something didn't work out or someone's asking for a deal. Like it doesn't happen that way with that tier player. So if you're Logan Cooley, you need to leverage that and ask for the big money. And that goes for guys like Kyle Connor. Everyone's like, oh, Kyle Connor got overpaid. Okay, who are the Jets going to replace their best forward with when there's no one left in the free agent class for 2026? There's not going to be anyone in 2027. And there's no one out there that stands out as a top line caliber player they could trade for.
Exactly. With that being said, and the perfect lead in, one of the two extensions, Sara Civian, is Logan Cooley, who it was announced this morning as we record on Wednesday, an 8-year, $10 million AAV. It varies year over year, obviously, cap hit extension. Worth it or not?
Oh yeah, he's his 8 goals. That I mean, I guess you could look back and everyone's excited and happy right now. I think that's he's a center, so that's a great reasonable, and the cap is going to go up. I think at its best, that's an absolute steal. At its worst, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like I think it'll be fine. They did kind of like do it when vibes were really good because he has 8 goals and he's starting off the season doing what he should. But that kind of happened with the Mammoth last year, and then things kind of dried up. So I am a little bit worried that he's going to get criticized when things dry up. But I don't know. They look legit this year, and I'm all for the contract.
Dana, you like it?
Yeah, I love it. I think he's such a good player. And like last year with the Mammoth, he kind of took off at the end there. And you could say, well, that was garbage time, right? Like they were pretty much out of the playoff picture and those games don't matter. It's a different level of pressure. Do it when it matters. Okay. Well, the Mammoth had a million injuries last year and couldn't get off to that great start. So here they are coming out of the gates hot and they're doing it. They have a 7-game win streak. They win 4 straight against the Central Division teams that made the playoffs last year and then lose to the Oilers, who were the best of the West for the last 2 years. Like that to me, it stands out, and he's one of the driving forces behind it. So to get this done early, I don't look at it and go, "Oh, it's only because he had a hot start." It's like the hot start, if anything, it might be what helps keep the price down because if he does this across
Yeah.
50 games, let alone 82, who knows what he could ask for, and who knows what other contracts are going to come out as is. So yeah, this is a great player. You're locking a player up for their prime. He already looks like he's worth the cost of admission. He looks like he's only going to grow from here. That entire second line now is signed throughout their primes on long-term contracts. That is a good bit of business. Like, this is, to me, a franchise cornerstone that when we did our tiers project, people were saying maybe we should be talking about him versus Connor Bedard. Like,
Mm.
and Connor Bedard is going to get 10, 11, 12 million too. So, yeah, they're in that same stratosphere.
Another extension
Well
that
said.
I personally like, this is a player that caught my eye in the playoffs between the Kraken and the Stars a few years ago, is Thomas Harley, who really popped last year after Four Nations. And that was something you mentioned as well earlier, Sarah. Thomas Harley signs an extension 8 years, slightly higher than Cooley's at 10.587, if we're going to be exact, million AAV. Sarah, we're talking about a blue liner now worth 10 million per. Like it or not? Oh, she's thinking.
I like it. I like it. I think he's awesome. I think another guy entering his prime, like Shayna said, and I think that's somebody you think about the tradability of these players too, and in years to come. Like I don't know, maybe during the Stars' eventual downfall, they can trade him, and that's like a really attractive contract down the line. So I'm all for this from like every sense, every angle.
Sarah makes a good point, Shane, that these deals, while they look rich now, will probably be easy to move if they have to be later. But it could be a move down the road, but it could also be just one more sign of how good the Stars are at, locking up waves of talent so that it's constantly crashing and hitting and keeping them where they need to be. Your thoughts on this extension?
Yeah, I think he's everything the Stars back end needs because it's been Heiskanen against the world and like Lindell's really good defensively but doesn't bring much offensively. Like Tom Sarley is like that infusion of skill that they needed, that pace, that tempo that is more eye-catching than the guys that they already have. And now you have this core three on the back end. They have that really good forward core up front, and some of them are on really good contracts, like the White Johnston contract we're going to talk about being a steal for a very long
Oh yeah.
time. So 10 million, I'm not really worried. You look at year one of it, and the cap hit percentage is 10.2. That was the same as Mikhail Sergachev's in Tampa Bay in year one. And you could say, well, Sergachev, the number two on the team, did get traded. And it's like, yes, but that's because they signed other bad contracts. Like the Chernak deal, I think, was the backbreaker there. Otherwise, maybe they could have kept McDonough and had Sergachev and made it all click. But like their blue line was constructed completely different. So here's your one of your top two guys. He can play on the top pair with Heiskanen. He can be split up. He adds the offense this team needs. It just all agrees with it that I don't look at it and go, oh, they're destined to do. Because I did see that, like, oh well, Sergachev got traded. Why wouldn't he? If that's that's to me nonsense. This is a really, really, really good player, and I think if Tampa's cap was constructed differently, they would have kept Sergachev too.
Yeah, I remember when that trade went down, we all went, what? I'm sorry, excuse me? But here we are.
Yeah,
Well,
draft day two trade. That's like the best draft day
yeah,
two trade we had in a minute.
that was wild. All right. One last bit of news. It's just simply that we want to.
Wait, you should have gone. That was a mammoth of a deal or something. Like I was expecting
Uh,
something.
the Tusky is taking me off my game. Taking me off
I
my game.
love him.
I was trying to come up with a Tusky meme there, and I didn't.
Tusky Tusky.
Tusky is Tuskying.
Am I the only one that likes him?
Yeah, I like him.
I don't like him.
Yeah, like he's cool. Why don't like he's cool. He's vibing. What should their mascot be? Honestly.
No, I'm not. It's not a problem of what the mascot is. It's the execution of the mascot.
He's cute.
The hair is wrong. It's
I
wrong.
don't know. It's like it's not giving like Furby or anything. It's like stuffed animal, and I like that.
Mark Lazarus kid will love it. Well, we need the verdict there.
Oh yeah, we really do. Get it? We need updated rankings.
I
We
think.
do.
Oh, we do need rank. I think he said that his kid liked it, but I don't. We don't have the ranking, so that is a good call. We'll have to tweet at Mark and ask him for that.
Yeah.
All right. One last bit of news. We just wanted to add our condolences to Brandon Montour and his family. They lost his older brother Cam after a battle with ALS, and that is not an easy time for anyone. So we just send our thoughts and love to the Montours.
Mhm.
In perhaps the most awkward transition ever, we unfortunately have for another week in a row because, of course, hockey's back. So the shit list is back. Um,
We had
the
such a nice break for so long from it, and
I
everyone
know,
just, ugh.
I know, and now here we are. Now here we are. But
Like one whole
um,
week.
we we get to at least a shining pinpoint of light in the vast abyss of darkness. Appreciate the tremendous and very difficult work that Katie Strang continues to do to amplify the stories and the voices that need to be heard. She came out with a report a couple of days ago that Ryan Kessler had been charged with 2 counts of 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct. And then she went further to specify that both counts allege that Ryan Kessler engaged in sexual contact with a 16-year-old child, quote, through force or coercion and or, parenthetically, had reason to know the victim was physically helpless, unquote. Pretty gross, pretty abhorrent. This was a child. Sarah, is there anything you'd like to say about this news?
Yeah, what can you even say anymore? Yeah, that's disgusting. Horrified. It's just it seems to be every month there's another case of sexual injustice in the league, and then it gets just the responses. It's like it's extremely tiring, and I will always fight for and believe survivors. And it's just like so jarring, the culture and the online culture that we live in these days, where somebody can be guilty or on trial. And it's like people are running to defend them of these disgusting acts. And it's like they're saying the quiet part out loud now, that like they don't care, that, yeah, if he did this, they don't even care. So I don't know where we're at when it comes. I feel like online has been primed for moments like this for years, with Elon taking over Twitter. And I think there are so many bots that, and maybe this is conspiracy theory, but it feels by design that the bots are trying to make you believe that people are awful now and like radicalized in a disgusting, scary way for women. I really feel like that kind of happened. So I shut off my computer when I saw this and was just like, I believe survivors. This is disgusting. I don't need a bot's opinion about this. And I can't go online and see that people that never have a profile picture think that's okay. So that's all I'm going to say on that.
To that point, kudos to the people who continue to hold up signs at every single Vegas Golden Knights game, reminding them of the player that they have officially now signed. Shayna, is there anything you'd like to add? I thought Sarah was brilliant, but I want to make sure we all have our piece.
Yeah, Sarah, as always, brilliant on it. I'm with you on the I think I'm a full-on conspiracy theorist now, so I'm like fully with you on that. But it's like the way it gets prefaced and phrased is something that I think is so important and should be like highlighted. Like there's some accounts that put out like a graphic or an image, and it's like we don't need that. It's the same thing with the Mitch Love situation, the way it gets put out there. Um, to me, and I am biased, but like Katie Strang is the gold standard
No
of
question.
investigative journalism. And the way she, even in a tweet, is very thoughtful. A 16-year-old is a child. And I think that's the point that everyone needs to remember. This is not a young adult. This is not just, even just saying the word 16-year-old, I don't think drives the point home. This is a child. And this is a person who is a head coach in the Detroit area to work with amateurs and children. Like I don't think people need to look at, I don't have kids, right? Like, and I don't need to look at it and be like, if I had a kid, I would be, you can just be disgusted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to like, I get it. Players, we hold them in such high esteem as athletes, and I get it. And there's that whole like never meet your heroes thing. But like, it's complicated, and I feel like you have to separate that. It doesn't matter what he meant on the ice in his career, because a person's legacy, it's so much more than just what they do on the ice. And I think this kind of stuff, like I don't care how much you liked him as a player, like if this is what's being alleged, this needs to be taken seriously. So just keep following the really good work of people who continue to shine light on what is wrong with I mean, not just hockey culture, but this fucking world.
And not to trivialize it, but I will again quote Sir Charles Barkley, who literally warned us all when he said, I am not a role model. Just because someone is really good at something does not make them a good person. So if you're going to idolize an athlete for their skill, but make sure you are a critical thinker about what you may or may not know about them as a person and how you think of them, quote unquote, as a person before you pledge your allegiance to them. All right. That was fun. We do have a Mikk-o-RANT-anen for the second week in a row. Because I am already exhausted, because why not, if you want to showcase the league and market this great game that we all love, cram every single team into a slate of games on a, wait for it, Tuesday. The Frozen Frenzy went off on Tuesday, every single team playing 16 games. If you wanted to attend or had to work a game already, you were severely limited in your ability to keep up. And if you tried to keep up, it was still almost impossible. Shayna, your thoughts on the Frozen Frenzy as our schedule critic extraordinaire?
I know I complain about staggering games all the time, but this is not what I'm asking for on a fucking Tuesday in October. I cannot stress this enough. First of all, no, they couldn't have like projected the Blue Jays to make the World Series. I personally wouldn't have, but they're here. So guess what? It's the Blue Jays world. Go Blue Jays. We're all about it. I don't need to be battling for TV space for the goddamn World Series against Game 10 of the NHL regular season, right? And everybody is so quick to be like, well, you can't do this on a Saturday or a Sunday because they don't want to compete with the NFL or college football. They compete with college football every fucking Saturday. Every Saturday has 13, 14, 15 games. So this is not reinventing the wheel enough for me. On a Friday night, if you want to do this, so you don't have those weekend days, do it. Start it at 5 o'clock on a Friday. Start at 4 o'clock on a Friday because that's the most reasonable day to do this. Do this at a time when the season matters most. Do it in November, right? Do it before Thanksgiving. Do it in November. Do it again down the stretch. Have the last day of the season be this insane chaos, just like football, where it's like everyone's starting at the same time, and here you're going to see everything. Same with baseball. It amps up the drama. I just feel like the construction of it in the first place is done poorly and it takes away from what it should be. But if we get into like the broadcast itself, like this is secondary viewing in my mind, right? Like, and yes, I am spoiled with someone who has multiple TVs out, but it's something you put on a phone, on a laptop, things like that, so you can keep up with the league while you're watching your own team because your own team is playing naturally when all 32 teams play. This is something that I think is really good to have in bars. I think that every Saturday that there are more than 10 games, you can have a program like this. But it's just the way it's done frustrates me. Like I to compare to Red Zone, Scott Hansen will tell you what you just missed in the game and then throw to the broadcasters. Do that because I think it's a good way to get the casual viewer into the voices that know this team the best. I think that when you're showing interviews during it, like an interview with Gary Bettman, it should be a picture-in-picture thing, not something taking over the screen that you're missing the Colorado Avalanche blow a 4-0 lead in what was one of the best games of the night, to the point where I literally turned it off to just have game action on instead because there were good games all happening at once. I just think that there's a way to do this to make it really interesting for both the casual fan and the insane fan like me, but this just isn't it. And it's like year after year, they're doing it the same way, and it just isn't working. So now you're competing with the beginning of the NBA, you're competing with the World Series, you're throwing everything on at once on a Tuesday. It just doesn't make sense. But hey, at least an East Coast team didn't start at 11 p.m. this year, unlike what was it last year when it was Philly?
Well, last year, the first game of the season was in Seattle at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Oh, never forget.
Because no one in Seattle works apparently anymore. Who's to say? That is fundamentally not true. That was a joke. Specific to my Seattleites, we all
Yes.
know we're all working. Sara, there's marketing the game, right? And all of Shayna's points are so valid. And at the same time, I don't wonder if this, in a way, also cannibalized the games, because if you went to a game, which is still the primary source of revenue for teams, is butts and seats, you're taking so many eyes. You're the fans of the game. You're prohibiting their ability to watch these other games. Like, what did you think of all this?
I feel like I saw 45 seconds of the entire Golden Knights Hurricanes game and
Yeah.
12 minutes of a 2-minute Leafs power play somehow.
Yeah.
Like that was happening. I don't understand how that happened. I think the worst part of it was when it was on ESPN proper and then suddenly, no warning, no
Yep.
context, no vibes. It just turned to the college football.
Same on the app, by the way, if you
Yeah,
were streaming.
there was no warning. Like I was like,
Mm.
wait, is this a glitch? What the hell is happening? And then it was on the other. It's like, why are you promoting or barely promoting it as this big event and then you're changing it like to the channel that doesn't matter. It's actions over words. And oh God, I don't want to be mean to anybody. I don't want to be mean to anybody, but it's just looking at the Frozen Frenzy. It's all the men that look the same in the suits. Then it's Kevin Weeks and Emily Kaplan.
Who
And
was a star, by
Kevin
the
and
way, the
Emily were
highlight
by
of it,
far
Emily.
the only interesting things about this broadcast. I'm so sorry, like love you all or something, but like I think Emily and Kevin brought youth and pizzazz and like there needs to be it's just kind of like oh my God, like it should be a little more fun, okay?
Have them take shifts instead. I feel like if they did, they were like, okay, Art is gonna start up with one analyst and then have it be like Steve Levy's taking over with this
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
Like there's a way
Arda,
to
okay, I
do
love
it.
Arda. There wasn't enough of him.
There
Like
was
I
not
forgot
enough of
about him
Arda.
after the first thing.
Yeah,
So
I
they
can't
showed him in the
comment on
beginning
any
and
of
I'm like,
this because
oh.
I literally couldn't see any of it because I had to work
yeah.
again.
It wasn't bad, honestly. Because, and I think here's another conspiracy theory. We need a conspiracy theory segment, and I'll call it like, um, who's doing conspiracy theories these days? It'll come to me. But I,
There's something with chicken me.
yeah, we're doing chicken goat milk hour. I feel as though I thought it wasn't that bad because we had 3 games where almost or 3 nights where almost the entire league was playing prior to this. So they were trying to warm me up. And it's
Yep.
better compared to that because they had context. I didn't have to keep changing my channel only once, but that was still too many times. But it was only tolerable because it had already happened in the worst way possible.
And how many
And you
games
only
are
have
there tonight as a result?
that's
One.
that's just it. And they were 2 on Monday, and then Thursday's overcrowded again. And this is
I
the thing.
saw the
This
madness.
happens almost every week.
Yeah, it's
Almost
horrible.
every week on a Tuesday. I have a fantasy column. I used to write it every Thursday night, and I would try to be done by the time game started. And I would
Mhm.
rewrite the whole thing because
Mhm.
when 26 teams are in action, and you're saying, Pavel Zacha jumped up to power play one, and then the game goes on, and he's off of it. You have to change it and redo your whole damn column. I do it now on Wednesdays because at least I know there's two or
Yeah.
three games on a Wednesday. Every Thursday is so crowded. So this is not that novel of a concept to me. 16 games at
That's
once, great.
That's so funny because I literally today, me and I decided we're doing stories on Tuesdays and Thursdays instead of Wednesdays and Fridays because I usually cover the whole league. And it's like I wake up every morning changing the entire
Yep.
thing.
Yep. I had to put so many placeholders in. I
Yeah.
did like my monthly column and I wrote most of it, and it all had placeholders. And I had extra topics to be ready to replace
Who's to
because
say?
every team is playing. Tonight it's
Guys,
easy.
at least we care enough to do that.
That's the thing. That is the thing. Like, and I get it. Like, this is a job, like, whatever. But for a fan, like, even if we take ourselves out of it and go for a fan, I just don't think this is the way to grow the game. If you're constantly saying, well, casual fans don't care about other teams, you're not giving them the right chance to do it. And there's things that look on ESPN Plus now, you can watch the multicam view, right? And have a four-way split or a two-way split. So you can have your game up on one side and you can have four going on the other. So even if you can't watch them in depth, you still know you can turn your hands up. Trevor Zegras scored and watch the highlight and watch it in real time. And I think that's a really big step because there's so much on at once. But I just think that we're like looking at the wrong ways to grow the game. And I'm someone who wants a red zone program on every Saturday night and on every Thursday night and every 10 plus night on the schedule. And there's so many. It just feels like we're like doing the wrong thing over and over and over again.
Yes.
And then I'm banging
Yeah.
my head against the wall going, so
No,
just put me in control for a
period.
night. Okay, you know what?
Period.
Let me if I fucking fail doing it, I'll shut up. I will shut up and say, I'm sorry, this is so much harder than I thought it would be. And I'm not just saying this as someone who watches a lot of hockey. Like this someone I have experience. I am ready. Give me one night in control and let me cook.
One night and one night only. Let her cook.
I'm gonna get fired night one, and then I'll say I'll stop complaining. That's how everyone needs me to shut up. Just let me fail once.
Let me feel.
All the men get to fail. Why can't I?
All
I'm
right.
back. Did everyone miss me?
Yes,
He's back.
obviously. All right, let's transition to wrap this up with some hockey talk rather than go through teams and games, because as we've made the point slightly earlier in this show, it is still too early, even though we have opinions. We're going to go through each division and looking at the standings. So everybody pull up your standings page by division if you're not already there. And we're going to say you pick one team you think is for real and one team you think is a fraud. So for real or fraud is the game we're playing. No countdowns, no announcing things at the same time. We're still in the preseason. I'm not going to ask that of us right now. But Sara, let's start with you in the East. Looking at the Atlantic, one team that's for real and one team that is a fraud.
All right, they were glazing the Sabres on TV last night on the Frozen Frenzy for whatever reason. It felt so, I was screaming at the TV and it felt so satisfying when they lost because they're frauds. Why are we trying to do this? Why are we saying, oh, they're the best at home team? I don't care. They're 4-4-2. They're -1 goal differential. That's what always, I can always find what's pissing me off about a team. And it's
It's goal differential.
always like, because you're allowing more goals than you're scoring. It's quite simple, folks. God, brutal to watch, and they have no resilience, no heart. That's a fraud. And like, why are we doing this? Why are we having to pretend that they're good? Everyone was like, oh, they're getting crucified at the beginning of the season. Yeah, because they're being bad. Okay, so legit Canadians. I mean, is it easy to say they're at the top of the league? But I know, or not the top of the league, but I guess they're 3-0 at the top of the Atlantic. And oh my God, the goaltending has been awesome. And that's the best part of it. The Cole Caulfield of it all has also been awesome. But the fact that they're finding a reliable goaltending answer in-house, and the fact that it seems sustainable, and that it's not just like one big winning streak. It's been kind of resilience, and they're winning in several different ways. God, it sucks that Line A is hurt again, but despite it all, I think they just keep trucking.
Shayna, your picks.
All right, I'm gonna stick with Montreal. I know that they need a lot of loser points. I get that, but I'm still very excited about them. I think we're gonna see the goaltenders trend in the opposite direction eventually. I don't think Montembeault is gonna stay this bad. I know he's like not the most loved goaltender. He's not the most flashy goaltender. I think he's a lot better than his start showed. And I think Dovish like has been great, but I don't expect that to continue. So I think it's gonna happen at the right time. But the reason I'm picking them, I love their offseason so much, and I think we're already seeing like the early returns of it. Last year, they went nuclear how often that they would say, Lane Hudson, you're going out that top line, and they're scoring goals. Well, guess what? This year, it's Noah Dobson playing with that top line because he plays tougher competition, and he is fucking awesome with that top line. He is exactly what that team needed, and I think they're getting the best out of him. And then Lane Hudson is playing a ton with Demidov and a new look second line with Newhook and Kapanen, and they're sick together, and they're outscoring opponents. They're controlling play. It's allowing Hudson to play in better minutes because it's a little bit of a lighter workload. I think it just works. And I think you're just seeing how a stronger blue line allows them to spread the wealth across the forward group more. So they're not as top heavy. And I think that gives me hope that they're going to be a little bit more sustainable.
Happening's really good. Good call there.
Really, really fun. Really fun. I like
Yeah.
was looking up the numbers today of that line with Hudson too. And like it's really impressive. Like it is legitimately impressive, and it's not just the two guys, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're the two little quarterbacks making everything happen, but they have like Cabin and Newhook are still complimenting them. Frauds, I'm gonna go with Ottawa. I get it. They made the playoffs last year.
Ooh.
I am over this team, and I get it. Brady Tkachuk is hurt, but they had offensive issues going into the year. Like, do they have that layer behind Stutzla and Tkachuk? And while Shane Pinto has scored a bunch of goals, I need more from the rest of the offense. I think the defense has been lackluster, and I think the whole Travis Green of it all last year was a better defense and penalty kill. That penalty kill sucks. The goaltending is awful, and I don't. Linus Ullmark, where are you? Hopefully he bounces back, but
I hate it. It's so tough
sucks.
to watch.
It is. Him and Swayman, are they not allowed to be
I
good at
know.
the same time
No.
if
It's
they're
like,
away from each other?
it's horrible. I hate it. It's brutal.
We're so back. I am also going to go with the Canadians as for real. When I saw them for the first time a couple weeks ago when they played the Kraken, I was like, holy crap, have the
Yeah.
pieces come together. And then saw them last night. Obviously, again, Cole Caulfield is just insane. And while it sucks that Line is out, I actually think in a way it's been helpful because now Demidov is exactly where he needs to be. Having him on the top power play opens up so many options, and you can see how it pulls apart a penalty kill because they're expecting the seam pass from Suzuki. And then meanwhile, Cole Caulfield's getting net front or behind the goal line. And it's insane. And I love the defense. I love the pairs. I love what Demidov moving to a different line has done for the bottom six as well. I think that's got a lot better identity on those bottom six. I just think they're super dangerous and they're banking points and they're young. And we love some Martin St. Louis behind the bench. So they're for real. I'm going to take a twist on fraud and say my fraud based on the standings is the Tampa Bay Lightning because they are better than their record says. I think Vasilevsky wasn't right to start the season. I think he was a capital P problem. And now he's looked better and they've won 3 in a row. And because there's 806 games every night, we can't keep tabs on them, but I think they're getting their shit together. And people are just remembering the start of the season when we all went, oh no. So that's my fraud in the Atlantic. They're not where they should be.
I like that pick.
Me too.
Metropolitan, Sarah Sivian, fraud and for real.
This is the hardest one. I feel like this is always not always, the past 5 years, I'd say the toughest division to get a read on. And it feels like that's why in some ways it's the hardest. Like I know the Central is, I guess, the toughest to play in among the best teams, but these are like the bubbling teams that it's the hardest to get a grasp on. I'm going the Penguins are frauds. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think they're having a hot start because their two legends are legending and they know what it means to. They knew they wanted to prove their points. They knew they might want to get traded to somewhere else. They knew what was being said about them, their score. I don't think this is necessarily sustainable. I think I'm wondering what Dubas is going to do to, like, is he going to be committed to the retool or is he going to say, all right, I'm going to ride with this? I think he's resourceful and will do whatever. But shout out to Sam Muse, or not Sam Muse, that's his brother, Dan Muse, Canton's very own. Sam was closer to my grade. He is doing a good job coaching this team, I suppose. But I don't. It just feels like a little bit. There's got like Justin Brazeau. Like I don't know if he's sustainable. I don't know if like several of these people are sustainable, and most notably the goaltending situation, and who is legit. I mean, the Devils, and I'll say the Hurricanes too, but I mean, the Devils, people, I will say the Devils because I was right about this, that I don't know why people were saying they're not good enough, where it's like they were the best team in the league when they were not totally succumb to injuries. And they kept Jake Allen around, and things are looking great. Jack Hughes looks awesome.
Shayna?
Yep, Devils definitely look for real. Jack Hughes is killing it. Nico Hischier and Siegenthaler are playing really tough minutes, and I feel like they don't get enough credit for it. I think the fact that they did so well without Markstrom is promising. They're such a good defensive team. Obviously, last game notwithstanding, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle life without Pesci with him sideline. But it's a chance for guys like Nemish to like keep making a name for themselves, and I think he's been better too. I like the third line. I feel like they've gotten some additions so they're not as top heavy. And I think even just getting someone like Dawson Mercer back on track, to me, that's massive because he's been such a disappointment the last 2 years. So I think there's a lot to like there. I think the coaching is doing what they need to do. It's like it's all clicking. And then for frauds, I'm gonna say the Rangers. They're not as bad as their record shows.
Hey.
I think they're going to score more goals. I think the roster has its flaws. Absolutely. I think they always was going to. Um, but I think that they have ways to improve the defense within, to give them a better idea of what they need to do at the deadline with guys like Matthew Robertson. I thought was good. They can always call up Scott Morrow. I think Shesterkin's going to be fine. I'm not worried. I think the team in front of him, they were playing better defensively and started to trail off. But I think you're seeing what the coaching can do with a flawed roster. And then I think they can, once Trocheck's healthy, reassess how they can fix this roster.
I am going to fully agree with Sara. Penguins are my fraud. Like you have, and also like it's gonna piss me off because if they end up with the number one or a top three pick, it's gonna piss me off. But they're built to fail, so I don't think this is sustainable. Shilovs might try his best, and he's had some brilliant performances, but they are my fraud for sure. And I also agree with Sara for all the reasons that both of you said about the Devils. They are for real right now. My one concern is the point Sara made about last year, which is this is a team that if they start to get even more injuries, they don't seem to have the reinforcements to plug the holes. So they, of all teams, have to really, really stay healthy. Sara, Division Central, for real or fraud?
Oh God. I think the Mammoth are for real. I think that's they needed to address their scoring, and I thought it would come internally when it's like the youth that kind of were consistent then inconsistent, and it's like okay, they just need a little like a few more reps, and that's kind of what they've shown. They've started out exactly doing what their biggest issue was to solve from last season. They're healthy. That's good. They've figured out the number one goaltending situation. They're doing exactly what they have to do. So I think this is for real. I don't think they're going to have a bunch of 7-game winning streaks, but I think they're going to be able to like, I do want to see their first slump and then see what they do after that. But for now, it seems real. Frauds. I mean, the Wild, what the hell are you doing? I expect them to be better than this, even if they're slumping, right? Like I think they are making fundamental errors on defense. The veterans are invisible. The stars are making critical turnover errors, and it's not pleasant to watch. It's like they're getting crushed in their losses, and they're barely winning with their wins. It's tough.
Shayna.
All right, I want to be different because I've been copying one of Sara's so far. So I'm not going Utah, even though I love them. I'm going to go Colorado. They're for real. Natchez, McKinnon, Makar look absolutely unstoppable. They're doing this without their number one goalie, and I think it'll look a lot different with Blackwood over Wedgwood on a nightly basis. The other thing is their power play has been kind of bad. Last night they scored 4 power play goals against the Devils. Before that, I think they only had 1 power play goal in their 6 or 7 games in between them. And it's been a problem like at times last year. It's why they made a change. Dave Haxtell is now coaching the power play, but they're trucking on without that. So I think that's really impressive. And it just shows, I think, the depth of this team, the star power of this team, that they're still going without everything being perfect, which is kind of different than last year when the goaltending, crushed them. And when the power play wasn't going, it's part of what eliminated them. So that is big. The team that I'm going to say they're frauds. I'm going to go with the Winnipeg Jets. I think they're much worse than their record shows.
I love it. I'm a Jets hater. Come on.
I don't know what it is about this team. I feel like I'm always hating on them. Last week when I was planning the vibe check, I looked at the numbers and I saw they had a 39% expected goal rate. That was the last in the league, and their 5-on-5 shooting percentage was first in the league. They're still the worst team in expected goal rate, but their shooting percentage has come down to like 4. But you look, you start digging in and you go, the defense looks really bad. The penalty kill hasn't been as good. They miss Dylan Sandberg a lot. I think Josh Morrissey has been good. Everyone else has been a lot worse. And Hellebuck hasn't been perfect to hide it. And the offense underwhelms. I think they need a Nikolai Ehlers replacement. And yeah, it's good they have a true 2C that they feel in Jonathan Toews. But I still think, even with progression from Perfetti that I think they're going to get this year, they're just missing a top 6 piece. You see the limits of this roster already. So yes, they're scoring more goals than they should, but I'm not impressed.
Wow. Interesting. All right. I'm going to do my fraud first because I feel like I'm too close to the heat with who I was going to pick for my for real team.
You were going Jets?
I was. What is going on with St. Louis? Like, I have not been able to watch them as much as I'd like to, and I'm going to start soon. But like every time I watch a recap, like first I see a score and I'm like, what is happening? And then
like
I
4-0
watch
on the Red Wings.
Yes. And then I watch a recap and I'm like, what? And then we go to Sarah's favorite number and they are a minus 15 goal differential. That is only tied by one other team, and that's the Calgary Flames, who are last in the Pacific. No other team is as bad. And Hofer cannot play right now. Binnington hasn't been much better. We're at a point where we're literally like going Hofer one period, Binnington the second period, and back to Hofer because it just doesn't even matter anymore. So they're my fraud, which it's mind-blowing to me. And I was going to pick the Jets because I feel like
I want to hear it. Like, let's go.
Because I feel like they do have some key players out with injury, and that when they come back, it might settle and balance out the forward group more. You've got Lowry out, right? You've got Perfetti out. Like, I think they're going to be better, and I think you just can't count out Sara and my's bestie from the All-Star game, the sweet Connor Hellebuck, in the regular season only.
Yes.
Okay, one more division to pick. Sara, the vaunted Pacific. They may be the most mid of all mid divisions. You're for real and you're fraud.
The Kings, how are you? You're a fraud. How are you 5-3-3 and third in the division? It's because the division is problematic. You're a fraud, though. Oh my God. Last night, Drew Doughty and Corey Perry connect. What year is this? I don't know, but it's just like they're either winning in overtime or narrowly losing in overtime, and it's just like exhausting, and they're gonna run out of steam. It's like genuinely an exhausting experience. Who's legit? The Ducks, they're here. Cutter Gauthier gonna score 7,000 points this year. I finally know the difference. This is a compliment to both of them. I finally know the difference between Leo Carlsson and the one who just got a contract for the Mammoth, that they are both having a good season, and with LC, Logan Cooley. So I know these are both guys that I now know. And that's enough for me. I think this is a legit team.
Shayna.
All right. The Oilers are frauds. They should be way better
That was my pick.
Yeah, and it's like we're not even talking about the goaltending, which hasn't been good.
No.
But like it's that they can't score goals. If they were scoring goals and their goaltenders allowed a couple back, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be like, okay, it's something to adjust in the long run, blah blah blah. They have tried so many different line combinations and it's just not going. But like they should be better. Like there's such a gap between what they're generating and their puck luck. So it feels like they're getting it together now. They scored 6 against Montreal. They've scored 6 against Utah last night. So it's like you're seeing them generate more offense, but it's not there consistently yet. They should be much better than this, and they should be much better on the road than they have been. The team that's for real for me is the San Jose Sharks. They are bad, and that's okay. They are fun. I love them. I love watching them. I'm interested every game because they're staying in games when I feel like they shouldn't. Celebrini is the real deal. I am so excited that he is because I think we're so, not we, because we don't do it, we're not assholes, but so many people are so quick to jump on young talent if they're not exactly what they pictured them to be in their minds. Hello, Connor Bedard. So it's nice to see him living up to the hype in year 2, and you're seeing the vision. I'm excited by them. I still like watching them, and I think there's been a lot of times you see these bottom feeding teams and that you're like, oh, I don't give a shit about that, right? Like some of the years Anaheim's bad, you're like, I don't want to watch this. The Sharks, I don't care how bad you are, I want to watch.
Sara, I forgot. I can't believe I didn't send this to you. Did you see the video of Celebrini's overtime goal on Sunday set to the Alchemy?
No,
Oh
you
my
have to
God.
send that to me.
It's perfect. Because that overtime, like the 3-on-3 is out there for what was it, like almost 4 minutes. Like Alex Wenberg is just standing there literally because he's so gassed. And then like one quick turnover and Celebrini's like, that's fine. I'll go down and score and win the game. It was delightful. I loved it so much.
Yeah,
okay. For me, let me look here. My pick was going to be Edmonton. You guys,
you still can have them.
When Edmonton came to Seattle, Connor McDavid played 24 minutes against the Seattle Kraken and did not have a single shot attempt. Not even a shot on goal, a shot attempt. Like they can't figure out these forward combinations. They're trying to reinforce what's around 97 and 29 with the next young wave of talent and Savoy and what's his face who came over from Tampa Bay, but they're not ready yet. They're not solidified in. The combinations aren't working. And yes, I am going to cite the goaltending because still, again, how can you not have done anything there? And here we are. So of course now watch Edmonton like finally win their cup, but here we are. They're my frauds. And I was going to take the easy way out just because it's so disgustingly annoying, but the Vegas Golden Knights are really good. And they're going to win the division, and it's just going to be the way it is. I have nothing else to add. Thoughts, comments? Did we do it, friends?
We did it, and you're spot on, right? Like
All right. Well, we didn't have a game for today, so those of you who don't usually listen to the end can in fact listen all the way to the end, because we appreciate you just as much, even if you turn it off before what should be your favorite game plays into your ears. We thank you all so much for being here with us at Too Many Men. When you want to check out our podcast via video, which is odd, but here we are, you can find us on YouTube at 2_much_man. That is also the same handle where you can find us on Twitter and Instagram, 2_much_man. If you're on Blue Sky, just change those underscores to hyphens to -much-man. We'd love to connect with you there. And if you'd like to rep Too Many Men outside of the digital space, which is really the healthiest thing to do, get some merch. Go check us out at our new merch site, friends. Kudos to Shayna for setting this up. It's toomanymen.printful.me. And Shayna has promised that every month we might get a new drop. Shayna, do we think we're going to have new merch for November? Holidays are coming.
Yeah, we're having new merch for November. What will it be?
New merch November.
Who's to say? I think we have to discuss which one we want. I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna work in some new designs, we're gonna work in some old designs, but we'll talk about it. We'll see what we think would hit the most.
I love this. I love this. All right, friends. So stay tuned for that. And until we talk again, we ask, please, that you do something, no matter how big or small, to make sure that hockey truly is for everyone. We will talk to you soon.
Love you.
Bye.